evening, everyone. A warm welcome to you all to the very first episode of Cybersecurity Careers Decode with Nisha, who am I, powered by CF Gold members. So now, before anyone gets the wrong idea, no, I'm not going to teach you coding या फिर नाश्ता को कैसे hack करे या फिर any of the techie stuff. So we already have a plan, plenty of master classes and training sessions for you all for that. So this series is about something a little different, like it's on your career journey in cybersecurity. I know what you are thinking. Another cyberfrat series. Don't we already have sessions for everything? Yes, we do. But here's the thing. This series is about you all, your career, your direction, and the guidance you might be looking for in cybersecurity. We already have sessions that help you learn the skills, but here we'll talk about the path. So, like you all know that how to upgrade your skills, we already teach you. But what about the path? Which path or which career you should go ahead with? So, in this discussion, we'll drive that. So, if you are a student, a fresher, or someone thinking maybe it's time to switch my career or my domain, so this series is exactly for you all. Each episode will pick one cybersecurity domain and break it down, what it really is, what people in the field actually do, and how can build a career in it. And to help with that, we have got our very own CF Gold members as panelists, the people who have been there, done that, and survived to tell the tale. You will get to ask your questions, clear your doubts, and maybe give your opinions. And so after that, maybe you'll realize that which direction you want to grow in. Now, let's go to today's topic, which is GRC, governance, risk, and appliance. All right, so let me also break it down to you all. So, governance is about setting the right direction, the policies, the vision, and the structure that keeps an organization security aligned with its business goals. And let's talk about the risk. So, the risk management is about identifying what could go wrong, assessing threats, vulnerabilities, and ensuring we are ready before things go south. And about the compliance is making sure we are following all the rules from internal policies to international standards and legal regulations. So, in short, GRC professionals are like the guardians who make sure the company isn't secure but also accountable and audit ready. So, I'll now just hand it over to our panelists to start decoding the today's domain GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. And I would like to welcome Mr. Amar Matrekar, Gokulavan Jayaraman, Rangarajan, Namita Bhardwaj, and Dr. Shweta Tripathi. So the stage is yours. Let's start with Rangarajan sir.
First of all, thanks to everyone who have planned to spend your evening time in something which is valuable rather than going somewhere out. So myself Rangarajan. So I have 13 years of experience currently working as a solution architect with the Cognizant. So my expertise will be falling majorly on the threat detection and response. And from the GRC perspective, I will be like more aligned, not exactly on the core GRC, but this GRC will be like aligned to the solutions where I will be working on the governance, risk management, compliance part. I can say like I have worked like 50 to 55% on the compliance part. So on the GRC side, I have more worked on risk mitigation, risk tracking, aligning the governance, like ensuring that SLAs are met from the operational perspective and from the solutions perspective. So this is a high level about myself.
Okay, so sir, you can start with your first question.
So my first question is like everywhere AAS onboarded. I mean like in SOC, in vulnerability management. So first, before entering into that, I just want to know like what are the career and what are the skill sets which are required after the pre-year and after AI has been onboarded into GRC. So basically, like pre-year and post AI, what are all skill sets which are required in GRC? Maybe like Sweta can throw some insights.
Yeah, thank you for putting up the question for me. The skill set definitely, as you said, as per your experience also, for GRC, the experience, the process driven, because GRC is completely based on what process you are creating. As Nisha explained, that governance is, policy is, risk is identifying the risk, and then complying it for different regulations. So for implementing all these aspects, you need to define different processes, right? So an ideology that how the processes can be set up. that is a GRC person is expected to have. Based on that, the organization would run. That is, if you talk about the implementation. Now, that is the basic skill the person has to know. And definitely, if we talk about the certifications, our ISO 27001 gives a complete guideline that how what processes are to be set up, what do you require to implement the things. So that gives a guideline. That doesn't, definitely we can follow, but that doesn't give you that if you are complying to this, you are protected, you have all the security controls. It gives you a guideline, the process to be set up. So definitely the very first thing, ISO 27001 certification, the auditing you need to know, you need to understand what is there, what is not there. So different auditing certifications could be required. Now post AI, what we want to understand is, first of all, what AI is having for us. Are these processes what we are thinking, what we are implementing as per our requirement, as per the organization requirement, whether AI is able to do that, and then how do we utilize the benefits of AI for automating our processes, right? So how the intelligence what we have, we know our requirements, whether we are able to map it to AI. Now for that you should know that how AI works, what are the different data sets, how the data is generated, what kind of data is required to develop those processes what we are planning to work on. So these are the two different things we need to be assured and we need to be confident on to get into the era of AI and utilize it for what we had been doing as per our own intelligence based on the requirement. That
Got it.
was my, yeah.
Yeah, basically, like I can say, like prior to AI, so human was a kind of like executor. He was executing the compliance and
Correct.
executing. Now human has become a orchestrator where he is working with the AI. Like I agree your point.
Correct.
Any other panelists would like to add something in this point?
Yeah, for the automation, we are using also the tools related to GRC like one trust tools or logic tools, which help to workflow of automation. So basic guidelines like we have to create, so we can automate it with this the tools like a financial services. We are using the logic which is a cloud based tools which is related to automation. So with the help of this, the simple mistakes we can avoid it this with the help of these tools. So that will is for our little bit the AI generations.
Yeah, the tool has to mature as per our requirement. The workflows
Yeah.
have to mature because every organization the requirement would be different. I would not say the way our organization implements ISO 27001 and the way you implement would be different. So the workflow has to mature based on everybody's experience.
Yes, totally agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to our next question. Ma'am, would you like to go ahead next?
Sure. So my first question was, can AI replace GRC professionals?
Actually, I want to know that. I'm very keen about this.
Maybe I will take this question.
Sure, sir.
So, so it's a long way to go. That's how I would start. Because I've seen in experience there are big chunk of organizations who are still running, especially the GRC, the policy, the reports, all the activities are still in Excel. I'm saying about the majority of the chunk of, and like the other panelists mentioned, there are many maybe big guys or even some kind of smaller guys who are having big pocket. They have gone to automation. So where automation, if you look at, there are two things. One is policy, one is implementation, other one is reporting. So the A is going to definitely already has taken the policy front. You type, I want a policy, it comes. Earlier, in my, maybe I'm old guy, so in my days, I used to sit and write the policies after referring all the standards, guidelines, everything. So it takes me for completing one policy even 1 week because I have to consider everything. So, but nowadays it's a click of a button. You just say create a policy as per the new DPDP law. Here you get the privacy policy. So as simple as that. So that's on the policy. Implementation side, AI will take much time to come into picture because the coordination factor, that the human factor that is being done till date by the GRC team, I don't think anybody can replace. Even AI will be able to replace immediately that intermediate part. But eventually, one day it will also happen. But it's a long way to go. That's where I start.
Yeah.
And the report structure, of course, yes. So if we look at, most of the reports are now in some form or format in some other tool. So if you look at, I want the SOC report, or I want the CCTV report, whatever you say, everything can come in one place. That can be orchestrated through AI. So the reporting and then bringing it in one place, and then even analyzing also can be done in AI. But again, it's all about what is the maturity model that you have achieved in your organization. So if you don't have the basic tools, basic reports still getting executed through manual mechanism, then it is going to take even more longer time. If things are in kind of matured mode and it can be integrated to an API, I think you can be a kind of plug and play with the AI. So in a nutshell, it is there, going to come and take up this space. But the integration part, the human measures that the GRC team members take to connect each people to get all those things done, that is not going to be taken by anyone. And an AI cannot face the auditor. Auditor will always look in for a person who is actually there to answer him. So not only auditor, I'm saying even anyone, be it a government body or a board of director, a senior management auditor, whoever it is. So it's all about that. So definitely it is going to be required, but at the large scale which it was earlier, even today we require people in large scale for GRC, but it is going to slowly fade down as we mature.
Just to add one more point, like as you said, like human judgment or human stakeholders will not be like replaced. Only the technological part where like input is required, like complaints mapping, evidence collection, this can be replaced by AI, and that too like it's still in progress.
Yeah, so even I
Exactly.
need to add here only by one word, no, AI cannot replace
Right.
uh,
Fully.
GI.
Humans still required to do the job, which is not replaceable by any AI at present.
At present.
Future is uncertain.
Right.
I want to ask some questions like as Jairam, so you have the big experience on that GRC part. So what challenges you are facing previously and right now, and what is the evolution you can see? What exactly, which is we are not seeing the new guys.
So previously, like I mentioned, the coordination effort was actually more. For any GRC person, he has to be like, in my opinion, if you look at most of the GRC person, they are the most knowledgeable person in the business. So they know every team member, they know every department, almost they know the business and what they do also. If he is a very capable and meticulous person. So from that angle, if you look at the collection of data and then putting the questions, following up, follow up is the biggest portion which a GRC member until today which is taking his time. I hope everybody will agree. So
Yes.
so this portion will slowly reduce as we are actually getting most of the reports online. So at your beck and call, most of the reports are now available. So if you are empowered to download certain reports, you don't have to go to them. So you can download on your own. At the same time, like I mentioned earlier, I used to do a week long activity for writing one single policy, which is now on a click I'm getting it. Maybe I have to go through it and then I have to just modify here and there. So certain things have actually changed. AI and maybe the LLMs, everything is helping overall with respect to the ease of job for a GRC member. We have to adopt to that definitely. The only thing is understanding of and then connecting the dots, which I don't think AI is now capable. It will be later on, connecting the dots, for which a GRC member has to be very, very highly having a complete control on all the standards, compliances, laws. He should be a kind of almost like a legal person. So his or her knowledge on all these aspects should be highly available. That was the previous scenario. Now, if you ask a question, maybe all these things will be compiled and then it will be given. So the previous resume, I think we all had learned the harder way. Now we are seeing the change that it is becoming more softer and easier. In a way, it is worrisome. At the same time, it is also making the life easy for everyone. So we have to understand what value addition we all have to the new generation has to do from here on, so that it can be taken further.
One more point to add, apart from that challenge, when I used to solution, I used to have a main challenge is on the compliance regulatory, which is keep on changing. So to have that, so that is another thing where I face a lot of challenges while factoring. Like even we have to be updated on that. Today we will be having DPDP. Even most of them don't know like what is it exactly DPDP. Then after some days again, like we will be ISO 27001. Then it is about privacy. Then ISO 42001 is about AAMS. So lot of things are evaluating is in evolution, and we need to keep adapting to that frameworks and regulations, because industry wise there are a lot of regulations.
So,
Again, like we need to be updated to that also.
yeah, that's what I wanted to add here, that being in GRC, you cannot say that, yeah, I have these
Right.
certifications and I'm fit for this job. No, you need to keep upgrading yourself,
Correct.
keep learning new things. And yes, Cyberfrat is the platform for that.
We try to keep you updated with all the new stuff, and so that you can keep upgraded in the career and also our audience. Thank you, ma'am, for that. Also about that AI part, I was so happy that finally, because सब जगह डर का माहौल था, AI सब कैप्चर कर लेगा, सब कवर कर लेगा, तो humans कहाँ जाएंगे? I am bit relieved right now.
ये हमारी माइंड की थिंकिंग कभी चेंज नहीं कर, हम लोग फ्रेमवर्क में एडजस्ट कर सकते हैं.
True. So I would like to take up the next question if I am allowed. Now let's get into the process of GRC exactly, and let's discuss about what a GRC professional would include in a day's job as a responsibility in day-to-day job. What a professional will have to do or has to do if somebody is taking GRC as their job profiles, what they have to do. We spoke about policy, risk, compliance, and everything, but as day-to-day requirement, what the person is supposed to do. If Anamita ma'am can take it up.
Sure, ma'am. I think Gokulavan sir answered this question a bit, wherein he said that the coordination is a required part of a GRC professional, which is also a pain at times. And of course, a blessing, how depending upon the fact that, how well you're conversing and how do you understand the business. So that is the first job responsibility. Person who logs in first, coordination. Okay, whom do I have to coordinate first? Okay, which department? All right, what is the upcoming things? What are evidences I have to collect? And to answer a question which was already taken, the qualification which is required to enter the GRC field. So a lot of people do ask me this thing because I'm a non-technical background. People do, message me on LinkedIn saying, what are the qualifications? I tell them, first develop the skills. You have to have a decision-making skills. You have to have an interpersonal skills. You have to have a communication skills. Learn that, then decide for the certifications. Right? I hope all of you would agree with that.
Agree.
Right?
Yes, yes.
The decision making is the important
Interpersonal
thing.
skill matters a lot.
Because 27,001 कर लीजिए 31,001, लेकिन इंटरपर्सनल स्किल्स तो आपको ही करनी पड़ेगी.
Really, it matters a lot.
स्टैंडर्ड आप 2-3 सर्टिफिकेशन कर लीजिए, आप तीसरा स्टैंडर्ड आप समझने लग जाएंगे, बिकॉज माइंडसेट वैसा हो जाता है.
Correct.
राइट. लेकिन जो आपको शुरू में चाहिए था, इंटरपर्सनल कम्युनिकेशन, योर डिसीजन मेकिंग स्किल्स, कुछ रिस्क फैक्टर है, नहीं है कोई, आपको पता होना चाहिए. यू आर द वन हू इज टू रेज, खुद डेवलप करने पड़ेंगे, देन get into any certification mode. And please add on if I miss something in the responsibilities part.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
can add two more things. Like apart from that, I can say like from a GRC perspective, the risk, the R is more important. So he has to keep on like updating the risk tracker, like what is the impact, what is the criticality, what is the vulnerability. So everything has to be tracked and it has to be mitigated within the timeline. Apart from that, like they also have to own the compliance part. So TPRM is another area where like third party risk assessment, because we are getting a lot of supply chain attacks also. So we need to ensure that also. So that is also a major part of GRC professional.
Yes, definitely. So as Namita ma'am said very correctly, and you also added on that very basic thing, know the business. Unless you know the business, the chat GPT will write the policy for you, but
Correct.
it will not know your business. What are the risks of your business? So very basic thing, know the business, and you will know the business only when you have interpersonal skill, only when you know and then get in slowly into the TPRM was my forte always, and yes, it is much required, and we may have a different session on TPRM, but much needed, much needed. So yeah, there are different factors you need to, maybe you can adapt the factor. If you want to write policy, your day-to-day requirement very much required, you need to know the business. Without
Right.
knowing the business, anyone, you may get policy templates also from different organization, from your friends, that also people do, but it can't be your policy unless you know what is required. So yes, day-to-day activities, definitely I think both the panel members have answered it very well.
Take
Go
the
to the
next
next
question.
question.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
No, Rangan, you can go ahead.
Okay. So if you see, a lot of organizations still have the mindset of just having the checklist, like whether they are meeting the compliance, whether they have that frameworks, like it's a kind of like checklist based. So now, what are the things which you feel like which can be like effective way to build the risk aware culture across all levels, like how to bring the risk, and from the checklist based, how we can move to the AI driven or something like enhanced level. What are the effective ways which you feel that can be supporting for this? Maybe I think Sweta can answer on that.
Yeah. So this is very interesting question. That is why I thought I will talk on it.
Okay.
The question, yeah, that is actually going on for audit based on questions is always a pain for everyone, because though we have the questions, ISO has defined the questions, but what is the expected answer? What is the level that we accept? If there is a question, do you have DLP? Right? The person may say, I have it, I don't have it. Okay, it is not required for our business. Why it is required? Now you need to justify that whether it is required or not. I make it compliant, I make it non-compliant. You need the just you can say, okay, no DLP, non-compliant, but in that business engagement, or in that, for that particular business, it is not required only, then you can't make it non-compliant, right? So if you want to make it automated, you will have to, I don't know, my mind just goes round and round that on what basis we will make it automated, because there are so many different scenarios. If you are auditing payment industry or payment company like PayU or Razor Pay, right? What all you should expect? Or if you are auditing the smallest vendor who supplies some application, so what is the difference between what controls are required here, what controls are
What
required
are
there,
the
what, because when you start audit also you need to mark out that which are required, which are not required. Now,
right?
making it automated, maybe if you have a clarity that yes, we are going to assess this kind of people, this kind of, maybe because I had been assessing vendors for past 4 years, with the biggest number of 500 vendors I had assessed in 6 months. So if I have a clarity that this is my bucketization of type of business, then I can think there is a lot of planning and training required to make a tool. And I would not say that that tool would be useful in the other organization, because their business, their way of bucketizing thing would be different. So yes, the workflow can be changed. Maybe as I was explaining, the workflow can be changed. So, but yes, a lot of background things are to be done to make the thing automated and get the output as per your requirement.
So basically, you are saying like apart from checklist based, instead of checklist manual based, you are saying we need to bring the automation through AI or
Yes,
some
yes,
kind of
yes, yes. We need to do a lot of brainstorming, but I don't think
use
it is
cases.
impossible.
Hmm.
We can. It would take time. The maturity would take time, but it is not. And lot of experiences are required. It is
Right.
not that one person from finance and banking industry, one person from the other FMG companies, any industry, automobile industry, can sit and make the tool. The people from different industries should, different experiences should come together, put their thoughts there, and then we can
We
work
can
on
create
this
the use cases
automation.
for that. Yeah, right.
Maybe Gopalavan sir can add something on this, so if you want to.
Okay. So the question is actually has got deeper roots, and I'm seeing in the industry for quite some time it is mostly checklist driven.
Right.
and that's because of the department, and the department heads are not owning it. They are saying that it is GRC team, that they will take care, but actually the understanding is right opposite. It is my team, it is I have to take care. Write what you do what you write, and demonstrate the project. That's what from the beginning the ISO states. So when GRC person writes, earlier it used to be he writes whatever as per the discussion it happened. Nowadays it has to be written by them. They have to follow it. They have to own it. So when it comes to risk, they have to open the risk document and then say, in this month my this particular RPN has moved because of one time maybe UPS failure or whatever it is. So my power failure related risk is increased. So I have to update my RPM. So that's how everybody should own it. Whereas they think that okay, in a year let me open it and then look into it. So somewhere I also say that it should be, now we have to move into a different direction, different thinking. How these things can be taken through AI. For example, the same example let me give, the UPS failure that has increased, the probability has increased now, right? Historically, once it was never happened, now it has happened. So we have to move it from low to maybe medium. So from that angle, this incident, if it is somewhere registered in ServiceNow or some Jira ticket, wherever it is, automatically AI should try to bring that to this risk document and then say, I am updating your probability to a next level. So we have to think differently going forward, and then so that the workload is reduced for the people, and then even by mistake also they will not. These are all the things that actually there are multiple things. This is one example I gave. So in future, I think everything should be connected like this.
Okay. So for the next question, I would request Gopalavan sir if you could take up the next question.
Sure. And mine would be kind of very basic question. So, what are the academic qualifications that are most advantageous for the people who are here, who are trying to get into GRC? And is there any hard and fast rule, a yardstick, whatever that you feel? Maybe we will give this to Namita.
Thank you, sir. Now, these days, when education is not, or I would say certifications are not just limited to you attending an institute or having some, particular basic subjects. Like, okay, I've done these particular subjects, then only I can get into this course. That has been of past. People are learning from YouTubes. People are learning from open sources. People are learning from Coursera. And now that basic qualification requirement of getting into GRC is, in my belief, is not there. It is certain level of skills which are required. And I believe that it is open. Anybody who's having a interest in GRC can get into GRC.
Yeah, go ahead, Rangan.
Yeah. So I think like you asked about the academic qualification. So I can say like first we need to understand whether that particular person is interested on the technical side, because GRC is a kind of like technical compliance, legal, like it's a kind of like blended thing. So if he wants to get into a technical area of the GRC, then he has to understand about the technical, like he can take like BTech or IT, cybersecurity, something like that. If he wants to get into some on the compliance side or privacy, then there is a separate course like on the finance, like BBA finance is there. So based upon the interest which he has, first he has to do the UG course, UG academic. He has to do like either technical means BTech, cyber is there. Now cyber security is a separate branch, because while I was studying, it was fully completely IT or CSE. Now cyber is a different course. They can take that course and they can get the fundamentals about the cyber security. If their area is something related to compliance, then they can go for the PBA, as I said. So once they get that UG course, they can get into the experience, like either as an intern, understanding like how the GRC works, get some intern opportunities. Then parallelly, you can do some certification and go for some PG level. Again, like in PG also, you have to just, if you are going to transition into the compliance from the technical part of GRC, then you have to take accordingly. So basically, I can say like BE or BBA or BA, something like that, based upon the technical or regulatory interest of the candidate.
Yeah, I would agree with Rangarajan because I had experience of being into teaching. I was assistant professor in computer engineering department for 16 years, and then I have moved to industry. So Yeah, I was very anxious to take up this question. As mentioned by Rangarajan and Namita, yes, very correct that the interest of the person is very much required, but a bit of technical background is needed. We cannot just jump into GRC saying that I am having interest, I am having these certifications. See, if you are going to audit or if you are going to make the policy, you need to know what are the security controls required, what is encryption. You are going to write in your policy that we will have this data at rest encrypted and data in motion encrypted. Then if you are not a technical person, first of all, what you will understand by data at rest and what you will understand by data in motion, and then what is the encryption and what are the different encryption levels. So for anyone just having interest and not knowing these kind of technical words, it would become
Understood.
little difficult, and the responsibility is just like that. So what I have observed is, I used to work with EY also, 1.5 years I have worked with EY, and in my past organization I was working with Tata AIA, where EY was working with me as vendor. So there what I observed is, the people who used to come and work with me, some people didn't had the technical background, but they knew things on their tip of their tongue. I asked them, they knew. Shweta, for data encryption, this is the encryption required. For data address, for cloud, we need this encryption. We go and check this. Then I asked them, you don't know what is encryption. They don't know. They didn't have any background about encryption, any technology guide. How are you saying? That was all by heart. So now you can understand. They said, we have audited so many people. We know for this we have to check this. For this we have to check this. What happens is, there the quality goes down. And
Understood.
if there is some twist, any change, whether the business change or requirement change, they are all confused. Now whether this fits or it doesn't fit, our protocol says, our standard says, our framework says that for for data address we have to see this encryption is there or not. Finish. Not there, it's a non-compliant. But whether it is required or not, what
Required or
is the
not.
technology, they will not understand. That is why I would insist that the people who are interested in coming, especially the students, as you said very correctly, nowadays cyber security department is also there. So kindly consider that, if you are interested, kindly consider that department, get the technical background, and then plan to come here. That was my input. Yeah.
That's great. To sum it up, I think Amita started it well. If you have a flair for GRC, it doesn't matter wherever whatever your background is, you upskill yourself with all the certifications, like many websites also she was telling, and I would like to add Cyberfred also there. So you can go through all these, and then you can upskill yourself. And Rangarajan was very specific on, if you want to go on finance, if you want to go on technical side, or if you want to go on legal side. So you choose these verticals, and then you get into GRC. And of course, Sweta ended up in a very very right way, that whatever it happens, you should have the flair for a technical understanding. And she gave an example of encryption. Of course, it doesn't end there. Also, you have to understand what are all the other things. Key management. It doesn't end with encryption. So furthermore, it goes on and on and on. So unless and until you are technical, you will just, okay, TLS is there. Okay, fine. TLS 1.1 is extinct. Why are you having that? So all this kind of understanding needs to be there with people. So it was a. I think the panel answered this question wonderfully. And over to the next question from Amar.
I just want to ask you that, in your experience, how do the GRC practices and the priorities and opportunities differ from the sectors like the financial sectors and the healthcare sectors? What was the main differences and what the consideration of or the regulation you have observed in that? This was the unique and this was the main difference between that the both the services.
Okay, I will start with the answer because I had worked with BPO as well as finance as well as manufacturing. So, if we, amongst all these things, the finance sector is highly regulated. Okay, almost the next is healthcare. And if you are actually dealing with US related healthcare, or anything like Europe or US, then the healthcare is also kind of, the GRC segment is kind of taking prime position. And not only the standards that you are following, it's about the RBI, the SEBI, the SEC, NHB. There are multiple regulators who will be like IRDA. So everybody will be behind you, and they have their own guidelines, their own standards and other informations. So it's very very important that you not only follow 27001 NIST, also you have to follow the master guidelines of RBI or anything which was released by SEBI or IRD. So it's very very important, especially if you are in a GRC position of finance and healthcare. Actually, you are in the limelight, and you have loads and loads of work to do, and it is not easy.
Very true. Very true.
Yes. And what is the difference between that PI data of both the services?
So PII, if we look at finance, it has got multiple PII. Basically, even credit card data and other information is also there. So some are more related to finance, and many are actually related to PII. They will have PAN, Aadhaar, etc., etc. All those information are being collected by all the financial institutions. So of course, Aadhaar has to be put it in Aadhaar world. It cannot be there anywhere, everywhere. So many regulations are already there. But when it comes to healthcare, though you haven't asked the question, there it's something different. It is PHI, protected health information. So that also is safeguarded almost in the same rigor with respect to maybe anonymization or maybe encryption. So all those things comes into picture there also. So when the data goes, the patient ID, name, and other information will not go. It is like the old school type where the registration number will not be there in your answer sheet when it goes to the person who corrects it. So that's how it is going to be. So and then when it comes back, you have to decrypt and then send it to the right person. Mostly that's how the entire industry works. So PI and heavily loaded with respect to finance and healthcare industry, and they are the one who are going to be rolling up their sleeves for the DPDP, and they are already almost most of the banks and financial institutions are like 60%, 50%, 40%. This is where they are actually running. Some are actually ready to plug and play also. Very few.
I have one question. So, how does the CCMP supports risk mitigation within the GRC structure? So, I recently came with the term CCMP, Cyber Crisis Management Plan. So, I was just curious about it. So, how does it work in GRC, and with any backup plans, or how can we mitigate the risk to it?
So it's one of the component. If you look at RBI master guidelines, CCMP is one of the subchapter. So ideally, any financial institution, I'm just giving an example here. It is there as BCP earlier. So there is a separate standard also, associated standard also from 27001. So if CCMP is nothing but any financial institution should have a separate policy on how cyber crisis incident is one. Incident can be multiple things. For example, an arson is an incident, power outage is an incident. But cyber crisis is a completely different ballgame. So you are supposed to have a separate management policy, especially for cyber crisis. And though it will at some point in time take the incident management also, that flow also will be included. But this is completely different. You should have committees, like if you are a global person, you should have local committee, you should have a global committee. They call it in different terms. I'm just giving in a simple terms. They call it as SGP, CCB, whatever it is. So all those committee also has to be there. Communication, how it has to be done whenever there is a cyber crisis. Who will understand and then sign off that this is a cyber crisis? Then comes intimation to the regulators, be it be certain RBI, SEBI, whoever it is. So who will intimate that? And there is a stipulated time also. Within 6 hours, you have to intimate. So it becomes actually a heavy burden for any of the GRC person or the senior management who is actually undergoing a cyber crisis. So there are multiple things which will come under the cyber crisis, including the forensic analysis, how we will get back to normalcy. Everything will be there on the complete. That's how the entire segment. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes, noted.
Thank you, Gokul to answer this question so precisely, because on chat I'm seeing there is a question which says that GRC is only audit. Please, I want to remove this myth amongst people that GRC is not audit. You have seen just now that how Gokulvan sir has explained that what is CCMP and it comes under GRC. You need to write the policy for GRC. So you have seen just now that how in detail he has explained. So GRC is not only audit. The audit is just one step of audit where you go and check that whether the processes, policies which are developed are being implemented or not. And the other side is to comply to those audits and policy. Are we ready? Right? So these are internal and external things. But who makes it ready? The GRC team makes it ready. Okay, for facing the audit or checking the others whether they are complying to our process, our GRC method or not. So GRC is not only audit. This is what I wanted to clarify if other members also want to add here.
Okay, so I hope Sayed got the answer. That's not only auditor job opportunity you will get, but there are others too. Like already I said in the introduction, you can, if you're in IT or law and many more, you can definitely opt for GRC. We have some other questions too. I will take it after your question. So I think,
On this line, if I go for my next question, which
yeah,
says
sure.
that how does a GRC professional approach the policy development and update cycle? I think
Okay.
that will answer even Syed's question. That is a complete cycle. If the panelists can throw some light on this answer to this question.
Like updation of any policy is important because the rules will be changes, the incident will be the changes, and what is the risks we have taken before. Like we are taking the for the RAF, which is a risk acceptance letter or the form. So we have there is a rule or the time period is there. So these risks will be accepted only for the 3 months. Apart of this, we have to create the new policy against that. So yes, it's important to recheck or the renew the policies as per our framework or as per the business cycles.
I think update cycle you have explained, but the first question was like, what would be the professional approach? I think so. So, what would be the approach of it? So, I can say like first we need to understand whether that policy or whether what is the scope and applicability, whether it is applicable for the organization, like based upon the industry which we fall. Then we need to draft something like based upon the applicability. We need to draft. We need to have a review and get it approved. Then only we can implement. So once it is implemented, then the updated cycle will come. Whenever there is any new changes in the regulation or in the sector, then as you said, this update cycle will be coming into picture.
Yeah, thank you, Rangarajan sir and Amar to answer that. Yeah, definitely a professional approach. So to update the cycle, definitely we need to check the applicability and we need to check, even as Amar said, what was the earlier risk, whether we are adding new things. So we should also not forget to manage the version, the
Right.
date of the policy. These are basic things, but while updating the policy, first thing is the update, the new number of the policy. What is the number? What is the update date? What was the date? Last year it was updated, and then what is the expiry date? Okay,
Hmm.
we should
Right.
Yeah,
always
yeah.
maintain the expiry date of the policy. So these are from the starting. I'm saying the professional way, because while getting into the risk, while getting into the your applicability and the changes in the policy, what change is being done. So you need to manage your index very well so that you know that what change has come in from the last year. So if your policy is going to get expired, if you had made the policy on 24th of October, it was signed by 20 by everyone on 20. Yeah, everybody signed. Who all are the signing authorities? Whether the signing authorities have signed it and approved it. Okay, without the signature of the signing authority, the policy is invalid. And every year, whenever is the update, if you have a process where you update the policy every year, it has to be updated every year. Every 2 years, you need to update the policy 2 years and then take everybody's approval, the signing authority's approval. During COVID period, we have observed that the signing was not possible. So we were also taking the email acceptance, that the signing authorities have gone through it on email, they have given their approval. So all these things are also the basic things, and then you get into the changes in the policy and make it ready for the next version. The version number, the version history has to be maintained on the first page of the policy. So these are some of the basic things we need to follow. Update, the signing has to be done before the expiry normally. So if your policy is getting expired on, you write the expiry date on 24th of October next year, you need to start working on the policy 1 month before that. If you start working on 24th only, your policy will be called as an expired policy and it will not be valid. So being into GRC professional, as GRC professionals, it is our ethics that we manage. See, nobody will bother, nobody will come. Sometimes some may come and check that what date we have put. But it should be an ethics, as Namita has mentioned very well, that your interest and your ethics. It is our ethics that I am maintaining my expiry date and I am starting to work 1 month before the expiry date. So these are some of the professional steps we need to take up while updating the policy. That was my input on this particular question.
I must say that's a really amazing answer because updation is must in cybersecurity and in our normal day-to-day life. Because we all know if we don't update, then what can happen to our systems and how can it get through. So I think it's already 7, and we can get one last question from Namita, and after that we can go with the Q&A session.
I would like to take with the panelists a question that what are the tools available in the market for the automation in GRC, and can GRC be implemented using those tools? I think most of the audience would also like to know the answer to that question. So Amar, can you
Yeah.
help us because you did name few tools earlier,
Yes.
right?
So we are using mainly the two tools. It is Logic Gate Risk, which is placed on the cloud. It's used for the workflow automation or the risk policies which are created to maintain that policy. So we are using these tools. So it will reduce our time to check the any excels on day-to-day time or that for us. As well as with this tool, we can go with the compliance dashboard also there. So what applications we have to done or not. Apart of that, the Sweta ma'am says that like for any updation or version change, for that the Drafta is new tool which is we are using for that. We have to create the document or the signing or like that we have to versions. So we have to put on that particular Drafta tool we are using for the any changes. So it will reduce the time and it will also reduce the hectare of it to change the any expiry or that things. So it will go automatically. Apart of this, there is a SAP GRC also in the market is using for the audit management also.
Anyone else who are using the tools and presently and can share with us?
Actually, I have not used the tool, but I have solutioned it in one of the reels. Like OneTrust is one of the tool. Like UpGuard is one of the tool
Your picture
for
froze.
like
It's just for
third party
me.
risk management. So though I have not hands-on worked on that, but sorry.
Your
Your
picture
Hello.
froze. Yeah.
Yeah, we cannot see you on screen.
maybe the network issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it clear now?
No. Actually, Rangarajan says that the OneTrust is one of the tool which is used for the privacy compliance and the third party risks as well as the audit management. Ki how the audit was goes and what that at that time what auditor was observed the points. So we can maintain on that the tools. Am I correct? You can just order add on that the tools details.
Yeah. Yes. Apart from that, UpGuard, yeah, UpGuard is another tool which is used for TPRM.
Maybe Gopalavan sir and Shweta ma'am.
I had taken demo of a tool called as Sidecats and it was really designed very well. Though I have not used it, I had taken the demo and it was very well and very efficient tool. And the other tool was Seconize, which we had taken for TPRM. And that was really helpful for managing my evidences, definitely. For third party risk management and managing all my vendors, the expired date. So it was very well managed. So these were the two tools which I had worked on.
Vitama, any single tool for both TPRM and the other requirements you would
See, these two tools which I mentioned, they are actually designed for GRC only. Those
Okay.
Seconize I had taken, they have the complete module of Seconize is the tool. Somebody has put up the question. So they have the complete GRC module there with them. We had taken up only TPRM from them. Same
All
with
right.
SciCats. SciCats, it's completely designed for GRC. And yeah, because I was handling TPRM, so I was more focused towards getting that feature. Yeah.
Mom, I think Syed has asked one question that any free GRC automation tool available for learning purpose.
I am.
Yeah, the logic gate was
Yeah.
the logic gate X. It is a little bit free, not the whole part of that, but you can check the demo version of 15 days, so you can understand what exactly is there. There is a licensing part of all these, like the ma'am said that they are using only the TPRM parts. So like that, the licensing part is there. So we can use the demo of the logic gate X. That is your answer of Sayed.
I think Gopala wanted to add something on that before.
No, most of the people, fellow panelists covered it. So I think we'll go to the next question, or maybe take questions from people.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think
So
people
I think
in the chat box. I'll it will be fine for you if I unmute the participants if they want to. They can ask directly from you. Is it okay for you all?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, this is Sayyid Yusuf Raza here. Thank you, Nisha and Cyberfred and all the panelists for sharing your insight. And this is great learning on the GRC front, on the different aspect. So actually, I'm also coming from the GRC background, as you people have rightly said, as a GRC person, you should have the interpersonal skill, good communication skill, and the main job is to follow up with the team for the evidence collection to ensure that whatever the evidence is being shared, it is properly evaluated, and there should be no finding from the auditor side. That is the mainly focus on the GRC person. But once the people get involved in this role, they don't get the opportunity to grow, further. Like as a lead implementer, where you are going to implement the standards or something, you are stuck with that, which I am facing. And what the opportunity is available in the market, you go in any of the GRC job requirement, they are mainly asking for the auditing role, whether you have done the ITGC audit, whether you are the SOC 2 type 2 or ISO 27001 as an independent auditor. So everywhere that is a mandate ask. That's my question came arise, because when you are a startup, then you need the implementation to be done for the policies, because now every organization which is already in place for the many years, they have the process set up, they have the policies, they have the procedure, everything. Okay, now that roles, that job requirement is mainly from the GRC. This is my personal experience. They're looking for the auditing role with good 4 to 5 years experience in that, not only just for the policy creation and all those things. So that's the my intent of asking that question.
So, Syed, I saw all your questions actually. So, understanding that some of the pain points that you currently have and what you see here in the panelists, I think most of us had started our life as a GRC professional, and all of them have shined in some way or the other. So, from my perspective, I had become a CISO. So from BS 7799 to CISO. So it's all about, there is no secret concoction that we will be able to provide you here that this is going to work for you. It's all the thirst that you have. It is the dynamics that you have to negate and how you have to position yourself. What value addition that you're bringing to the table for the management, and showcasing that you had brought the value. All those things you have to do together, and then you have to also upskill yourself at right time and ensure that everything is coming to the limelight. So if you are doing all these things and keeping quiet, then also it's wrong. If you're not doing these things and then you are shouting a lot, then also it's wrong. So it's about the balance that you have to make, and definitely you're going to be at some high flying area sometime. It's not about only Syed, since he asked this answer is for him, but it is for everyone actually, whoever is trying to pursue. So the opportunities are limitless. Many people are at GM level or AVP level, VP level, CISO, CIOs. I can name many people, or I have many people who are from that angle to now this part of the world.
Yeah, that was a great answer. Even I want to add here that when you say GRC, and in one of our discussions, we said that one part of GRC is TPRM, right? So it is not that only you become an auditor. If you take TPRM as one of your profile, okay, I have seen the vacancies coming in for VP TPRM, vendor risk management. It is such a big risk. So there it's not only audit, you become a senior vice president. I have seen the vacancy before I joined this organization. I have seen the vacancy senior vice president in only TPRM. People are focusing so much only on TPRM. So it's up to you how you take up. And yes, even as Gokul once have said that how he has grown. Similarly, even I have got that growth opportunity. I have joined this organization as DGM Cybersecurity because I left TPRM because I thought that I should get exposure of other fields of information security. That was my thrust. As he said, what is your thrust? I could have grown as in the field of TPRM as senior vice president, but that was not my thrust. My thrust was I wanted to explore the other opportunities in security also with the growth. So you need to identify if you project yourself as an auditor, you will get all the opportunities related to auditor. It is up to you how you are projecting yourself. This is what I wanted to add.
I hope say the question is answered and it answered very well by all of you. So as the time permits right now, so I just want to, give such like it was a very wow kind of great discussion, and just want to thank you to our all the panelists for bringing things down so clearly and sharing your real world experiences, and it honestly makes the world of a difference. And to everyone who joined today, our audience, thank you for being a part of the first episode of Cybersecurity Careers. I hope you got some clarity on what GRC is all about, and maybe even felt that little spark of a curiosity to explore it further. So we'll be back soon with the next domain and new speakers, new panelists, and of course, more decoding to do. Till then, stay curious, stay learning, and always stay cyber safe with CyberFrat. Thank you so much for being here today. And yeah, we'll see you again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajan.
Great evening ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Nisha, for
Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you.
There is no feedback from as such right for this session, but we'll surely inform if we have for the next session. Thank you so much.